All right. Hope everything's all right. Hope everything's going well. So I'm going to attack the three problems that you gave me in your email. And this was the first one. So you see the numbers I have are going to be different than yours, of course. And so it says soon that the population mean to be estimated from the sample described, use the sample results to approximate the margin of error of 95% interval. So you see they give us the information right here. And so let's go to the notes. So all we want to do is calculate our confidence interval. They gave us our sample size, our mean, and our standard deviation. First thing we need to do is calculate the margin of error, and this is the formula right here. 1.96 times S, that's an S, not a 5, over the square root of N. And so we go ahead and plug in S and plug in N into the formula. And so that's how I got 1.96 times 4.0 divided by the square root of 100. And put that in the calculator. And that should give you, why is my P not working? Okay, there we go. And that should give you 0.8. And that's what it asks for the decimal. You give you 0.784 and round it to one decimal, which is 0.8. Then to find, and that was, sorry, that was the first answer that they asked for, was the margin of error. Then to find the confidence interval, you add that to your mean and subtract it from your mean. So that's 81 point plus 0.8, which is 81.8, and then 81 minus 0.8, which is 80.2. And the 80.2 is your lower value in your confidence interval. 81.8 is the higher value. All right. So that's number 3. That's all they asked of you. Number 4. Question number 4. They actually asked what was the required size. So they gave us all of the information. They gave us the mean, standard deviation. So mean is 100, standard deviation is 12. Once again, we're dealing with 95% confidence interval. Remember, that's what we said we were dealing with throughout this section. And then they tell us that we have 4 IQ points within the true mean. So that's our margin of error. The 4 points. So going back to the notes. So notice we have 100 for our mean, 12 for our standard deviation, 4 for E, which is our margin of error. Now, to calculate what N should be in order to have that margin of error, we use the margin of error formula and then solve it for N, which is N equal to 1.96 S over E squared. So just taking N and solving it for N. And then you plug it into that equation, plug all the values into that equation. So it's 1.96 times 12, which is S, divided by 4, which is E. And that'll give you 34.5744. And it said round to the nearest whole number, and that'll be 35. So that's how you get 35 right here. All right. So basically just using, all the same formulas. And then the third one you sent was question 6. So this time they didn't give us any of the values, but they gave us this chart. And so remember the first video I sent you told you go here to use StatCrunch. So use StatCrunch to go ahead and find your mean, your sample size. Instead of you counting these values, StatCrunch will do it for you. Mean, sample size, and your standard deviation. So if you do that, like I said, you can lean on that first video that I sent you to get these values. It'll give you 36, 183.3611, 3611, 112.0383 for your standard deviation. And then from there, now that you have these values, you can go ahead and plug it into the formula. Now, the first question asks you, and they use different wording, just want to make sure we're okay with what it's saying. The estimate of the population for all such bare weights is going to be whatever your mean is. So your mean is going to be an estimate for your population of all such bare weights. So that's where I got the 183.4 from. So when I calculated using StatCrunch, the mean was the estimate of the population. And it said round to one decimal place. Then from there, we can use standard deviation and our sample size to calculate the margin of error. We plug those values into the formula, and that'll give you 36.599. Then we can add that value and subtract that value from your mean. We get 220.0 and then 146.8 because they're round to the 10. The nearest 10. And I believe that was it. Yep. That's the related values right there. All right, so that's it. Let me know if you have any more questions. Take care.